The issue of when an older driver should give up their licence is fraught with emotion, and for Southport MP Peter Lalor, the topic is a deeply personal one. He's called for a parliamentary inquiry after his daughter lost her leg in a car accident. The state government set up an advisory committee and isn't ruling out annual medical tests for elderly drivers. Emma Pollard reports.
A shocking event on May the 11th changed the life of Peter Lalor and his daughter.
I got a call from my son-in-law Clive to say that there'd been an accident and that my daughter and my grandson were involved.
Ali France was in the car park of her local shopping centre in Brisbane when a driver lost control, pinning her against another car. She managed to push her 4-year-old son out of the way.
One lady grabbed Zach out of the stroller and raced off with him so he didn't see, what was happening to his mother.
As the mother of two stood there trapped and bleeding heavily, the elderly driver froze. 2 young men who witnessed the accident immediately went to help.
They got the car off Ali and then one of them took his shirt off and put a tourniquet on her leg. Otherwise, without that, she probably would have bled to death on the spot.
Doctors couldn't save the 38-year-old's left leg, which was amputated above the knee. Mr Lalor says his daughter harbours no resentment toward 88-year-old Ronald Petfield, who was behind the wheel that morning.
Is there anything you want to say to the family?
No.
Last week, he pleaded guilty to driving without due care and attention.
He was convicted and disqualified absolutely from driving, but not further punished.
Peter Lalor has called for a parliamentary inquiry into older drivers, and he wants Parliament to consider the introduction of regular driving tests for over 75s.
But it's not good enough, in my view, to allow people to continue to drive until they have a serious accident.
It's a divisive issue. 83-year-old Val French leads the lobby group Older People Speak Out. She still drives and is firmly against driving tests for seniors.
I don't agree that it would have any benefit, quite frankly. I think it's very discriminatory because there are a tremendous number of accidents, and you would be aware of that, that are perpetrated by youth, by people in the middle, as well as accidents by older people.
It's an argument supported by Department of Transport figures, which show older drivers aren't overrepresented in road crashes.
I am fed to the teeth with this idea that older people are different from the rest of the community.
At the moment, drivers aged 75 and over need to carry a certificate from a doctor. The certificate can include conditions and can be valid for up to 5 years. While Ms French is against physical driving tests, she does believe older drivers should have more frequent medical tests.
At the moment, some people are only being tested every, say, three years or just once in the 5 years. We've got to get rid of that and make sure that we are doing it far more regularly.
She says for some people, closing the door on driving can be devastating.
Once they're told they can't drive anymore, they will go downhill because they've lost their wings, haven't they?
General practitioner Dr Richard Kidd is at the front line of the debate. He regularly completes driving certificates for elderly patients and supports the current system.
And it comes down to the doctor's discretion, and I think that's the best thing.
He says the strong personal bonds between GPs and patients are a help, not a hindrance when driving is discussed.
I've certainly found that closeness, that trust that's built up over the years has been really good, where I've had the conversation with patients, and most people I've found have been very receptive to the concerns that I raise.
Russell White has worked in driver training for 20 years. The road safety advocate puts drivers of all ages through their paces in his simulator.
So Emma, if you're all set, we might take you for a drive. So when you're ready, hit the start button and we'll hit the road.
He says while older people generally take road safety very seriously, they can have physical challenges which affect their driving.
A senior driver will tend to bring their eyes back even further and be looking immediately in front of the bonnet. Now, and of course that's generally speaking, but that's largely what you tend to see. They simply don't move their head or move their eyes anywhere as near enough as they should.
He's pushing for all drivers to receive ongoing training.
We're sort of asking a lot for it to be done at both ends and nothing in the middle. And if you really look at any other form of work or training, that doesn't happen anywhere else. There's always a period of ongoing development.
Training is one issue likely to be discussed by a new advisory committee announced by the Transport Minister.
This is the first step, and then we'll be looking at recommendations, and I'll be taking that to Cabinet.
The Minister has flagged the possibility of annual medical tests for elderly drivers.
Other states have gone through a model now where they're looking at for general practitioners to test a person every year to make sure that they are fit and proper. That's something I'm open to. It's something that we can look at and explore.
It falls short of Peter Lawler's call for a parliamentary inquiry, but he's satisfied the government is at least taking the issue seriously.
The independence of an individual shouldn't outweigh the safety of the community.
Mr. Lawler says his daughter is recovering and he hopes this doesn't happen to another family.
And the government has also announced a review of the practical test for loaner drivers.